9, 100. Oh, hello there. Son of a bitch! I'm guessing, like me, you've been spending a lot of time inside using the internet lately, what with all the chaos going on in the world. Well, thanks to our sponsor, Surfshark, they can keep you safe. Not necessarily from the crushing forces of a dumbbell, but from people that might mean you harm by stealing your identity or getting access to your browser history. You see, Surfshark is a VPN that's there to protect all your personal browsing data. You can download it right now and use it for free on one device. But if you sign up, you can use it on as many devices as you'd like. There we go. Now I'm protected. Thank you, Surfshark. And as a special bonus, if you sign up today by clicking that link in the description and using the code TeamFourStar at checkout, you can get 85% off your order plus 3 free months on your order. So thank you again to our sponsor at Surfshark. And now on to the Talkcast Podshow. Hello and welcome to the Talkcast Podshow, the #1 show on the internet and the droids you're looking for. I'm Lani, joined this week by my partner in crime, my number 2 in the rule of 2, Taka 101. How you doing, Taka?
Okay, but aren't you the one who craves the power?
Well, there's one to hold the power and the other one to crave it. So
no, well,
I'd say in this situation I have the power.
Well, I downloaded Crave actually. It's a pretty good streaming service.
So yeah, you have the crave.
Yeah, I have. That's true. I have Crave. I do have Crave. It's a pretty good service.
There you go. I'm glad we solved that.
So is HBO Go the power then?
I guess. I mean, like, I'll be honest. I've only really been using it to watch The Wire. I might watch Westworld Season 3.
I like the caution in your voice. It's really
It's weird because they totally gave up the plot on that show after the first season.
I just heard the ending of season 1 and went, oh, that sounds terrible.
No, the ending is like season 1 was great, and then season 2 was kind of meh. It kind of like got a little better by the end, and then season 3 is literally just a cyberpunk thing.
We got 500 bits from Frostbitten Warlock.
Yo, what's up, dude? Thanks so much, man. But yeah, so we're sitting here between 2 essential fandom days. There's May the 4th, which is behind us, and there's Goku Day, which is ahead of us.
Boo! Who gives a shit?
Yeah, you're right. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Fucking. What do we say about Goku? He sure is a main character of a show. He sure does have scaling power.
Inarguably one of the most prolific shonen protagonists of all time, though.
Yeah, but.
Yeah.
He sure is Goku. He sure is Goku.
He sure is.
It's like people are going to slowly reveal that the only reason why Goku had some pretty nuance written to him was all because of Kaiser Neko's efforts to stop me from destroying that character. It's not untrue, and that's why we're a good writing team. That's why we're a fantastic writing team.
Yeah, we each pitch something, the other one will stomp it down, and then we'll mush it into something that comes out good.
It's a good writing sessions when all 3 of us are just like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, when all 3 of us come out just not happy about something, it's we did something right.
We know it was a good script then. Simply put, it was the best script we ever came up with. All right, Nick, as a well-known Star Wars fan, take us away.
Sure.
To a galaxy long ago.
Far long ago, in a galaxy that happened to be somewhere out there.
I can't even besmirch it because at least it doesn't say fucking universe. That's my biggest beef in sci-fi, where they misuse. When they mean galaxy and they say universe is fucking everything and it's infinite. Yeah. Galaxy is a finite amount of space.
Yeah, if you're talking about other universes, then you're talking about trans-dimensional stuff, and then you're getting into like comic book territory.
Yeah, leave it in Star Trek where it belongs.
So Taka, this just came out. Disney Plus, obviously, for May the 4th, put out a whole bunch.
Simpsons Plus.
Yes, put out a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff for May the 4th.
Yeah.
Have you seen Rise of Skywalker?
No, I have not seen Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, but you're aware of all the buzz surrounding it at the very least.
You know what? Only thing I've ever heard is people's complaints about it.
Oh, okay. Then this is fantastic. Based on every single complaint that you've heard, can you tell me the plot of Rise of Skywalker?
Okay, the plot of Rise to Skywalker, based on what I've seen on Twitter. All right, it opens up a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Accurate.
Boom! It's the scroll. It's a complete retcon. The Last Jedi, it didn't really happen. Part of it, the Rebel Alliance got all their people back, even though they were down to like 20 people.
Also, still accurate.
So the Resistance. Sorry, I'm sorry. So Rey, Finn, Poe, BB-8. Oh my God, Rose. Oh God, I remembered her name. Thank God. I feel so bad for Rose. And a C-3PO and Chewbacca. They all go to Burning Man.
Okay, you are right, except for one thing. They completely abandoned. Okay, I won't correct you yet.
Don't correct me. They all go to Burning Man.
They go to Burning Man.
Turns out, the bad guys were also at Burning Man, but they didn't drop the acid yet, so they caught him. So then they start chasing the good guys out at Burning Man. There's lots of witty banter, and at no point do we bring up that Poe is likely gay.
Okay.
Finn yells Rey's name a lot.
Still accurate.
Okay, I don't really know what happens after this. The next thing I know about is they go to another greatest hits moment, which is Endor, where a part of the Death Star landed and did incalculable damage to the forest moon of Endor. At no point do we see Ewoks though. Mm-hmm. Because it's implied they died after the part of the Death Star landed, and the Rebel Alliance couldn't give a shit.
Right.
Because everyone's a morally gray bad guy. Now, okay, so they get there. So Kylo Ren really badly wants the last piece of his collectible, like he wants like the hand of Darth Vader or something.
Like all his Sith memorabilia, because he's like
he
a big
wants
fanboy.
He wants the perfect collection.
He's a big fanboy of his grandpa.
Okay, and now Rey shows up and she's like, "Whoa, dude, whoa, what the actual F are you doing here? Maybe you should be good." Kylo says, "Nah," and like slices her up a bit, but not enough to kill her.
All right.
I think he throws a lightsaber, and then nothing happens. Now it's revealed now suddenly that J.J. Abrams, Emperor Palpatine had plans the whole time to be bad, so he used, in secret, a slave population of willing slaves to spray paint all the stormtrooper armor red and build 100 Star Destroyers that all have giant Planet Buster cannons. Now that I remember because everyone's like, that's stupid, and that sounded pretty stupid. So
all those statements are accurate.
So Rey lands on the planet, and she finds out, no, you are Palpatine as well, as the Emperor had turned into like a GLaDOS-esque bad guy because they lack any semblance of originality in this one. So then Rey defeats him with the power of friendship, and then she makes out aggressively with the corpse of Kylo Ren. The end.
You hit pretty much all the plot beats except for there's one thing that you got horrifically wrong.
What's that?
They abandoned Rose. Like, she is barely in the movie. She has, like, a line.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
That's crazy. I thought Rose went to Burning... Did they lose her at Burning Man?
No, she didn't even go to Burning Man. She wasn't invited.
Oh, wow. I thought Rose was with them. Man, I feel bad for Rose.
Yeah, she had to stay back with CG Carrie Fisher.
Remember... I assumed that wasn't even real. I assumed that was just a dream sequence. That's why it looked a little bit off.
There's also one other piece that was slightly inaccurate. Never in any lightsaber fight did Kylo Ren ever stand a chance against Rey for some reason.
That's a little bit odd to me, mostly because he's been training with a lightsaber his whole life, and Rey just picked it up. But she's not a Gary Stu. No. She's not a Mary Sue, sorry. She's not at all.
And yet somehow they're both supposed to be like equals by the end of all. I don't know. It's that Big Papa Palpatine blood, man.
Big Papa Palpatine. Well, he was never a lightsaber dude. He had lightning. That was his thing.
It was his thing until Revenge of the Sith said that. Until Revenge of the Sith said that lightsabers are really cool, and Palpatine should just be able to solo kill 3 Jedi Masters with no problem.
Okay, but hear me out.
I'm listening.
Why were the prequels better?
Oh, there's a. Okay. They are less well scripted, but they tell unique stories. Is that a fair assessment?
All right, so like the second one, which was like Rise of the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah, Attack of the Clones, which is,
no, all
in my opinion, the worst Star Wars movie made.
It has to. Everything has to have Return, Rise, or the last in the name.
Okay.
The Rise of a New Hope.
Okay, so the Last of the Clones.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta rewrite all these names here. We gotta make sure that they're as good as possible. When I hear a scene, the Rise of blank, I don't give a shit. The second you put Rise of in your title, I can't care. Because I'm like, you don't care about your movie, I don't care about your movie. So, yeah.
Somebody wasn't a fan of Rise of the Guardians.
I didn't watch it.
Fair enough.
I don't think they rose up.
They tried.
No,
and then there was like huge fan fictions between Jack Frost and Elsa before.
All I know is like Santa
Frozen
Claus
just went way too far.
Santa Claus just swore a bunch. That's all I really know. Or was that Alec Baldwin himself?
It was probably both.
Last of the Menace, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Thank you, Empo. I didn't care. I didn't care for that. I was like, Rise. Why is it rising up? The Last of the Planet of the Apes.
War for the Planet of the Apes. I mean, it took a long while for those apes to rise, and then they're still fighting for it. It's crazy. There were 3 of those movies after Rise. Or were there
Anyways, The Mandalorian's well made.
Oh, yeah. Mandalorian's probably some of the best Star Wars we've had in a long while.
All the people getting mad about Ahsoka Tano being in the show can hush up. We finally have a good character we can enjoy. Like, Ahsoka Tano's a well-written character. Everyone's just mad because they're angry that their OC didn't make it into the universe, unlike the creator of Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah,
so
unlike Filoni. Unless that was still, like, Lucas's thing. Like, it still might have been Lucas that came up with Ahsoka. Because that Clone Wars started back when he still had, like, full creative control. Full creative say.
Hey, do I sound different now? I think I just corrected my microphone.
You sound fine.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
okay.
Speaking of Clone Wars, the final season of that just dropped. And
I feel bad.
Yeah?
I feel bad, Nick. I feel bad, Nick.
What about?
I haven't watched a single bit of it.
Okay. There's a few... Okay, the last 4 episodes are really the only important ones, I'm going to be honest.
Okay, that's not shocking to me. That's not shocking to me.
Yeah, like the first few, because you know how Clone Wars works. They have like these little mini arcs of like 3 to 6 episodes each, right? And they all tell their own little self-contained story between the episodes, and then they move on to the next thing.
Okay.
The first one is like, you know, where they decide to start it off. It's very Saturday morning cartoon, and when it was going direct to streaming, I thought, okay, this is going to be kind of for the hardcore Star Wars fans, the people that like really like it. And they started off interestingly, like going to this planet where this very neutral tribe is living, just trying to live their life, but the part of the Separatists Alliance, the Techno Union, you know, the guys with the big like metal collars around their faces with the big bulging green heads on the outside. They've set up a base there to build like droids and stuff, and it basically is like a strategic outpost. Anakin,
are they doing the damn pacifism episode again?
Kind of, sort of, but they do something really weird with it. Because Anakin and his clones show up out that way, and they're traveling with a group of mutant clones known as the Bad Batch, which are basically clones that had some like genetic mutation to them where they're different from all the other clones. So they're like, we'll just put them all.
One has a big arm, one has a big head, one has 5 dicks.
You got the strong one, you have the really smart one, you have the one that like is Hawkeye and just can't miss, and then you have essentially Charlie Sheen from Hot Shots as their leader.
Damn, tiger blood pumping in him.
Basically. And, you know, so they team up, wacky hijinks ensue as, like, these clones are like, look, nobody cares about the clones, the Jedi don't care about us, blah, blah, blah. They're playing up that dynamic kind of fun, which, you know, since this season's basically leading up to Order 66, is kind of a fun thing for the clones to pass back and forth with, like, you know, we're all just disposable to them just as much as these droids. The issue I took with this arc is when they got to that planet and they're talking to, like, the tribe, and the tribe's just like, look, we don't want anything to do with your war. We just let like those other people stay here and they don't bother us. And Anakin's like, look, you have to help us because like we want to get we want to stop this war. We want to make sure all this stuff stops.
That's such a Sith move, Anakin. Not
Very
gonna lie.
much so.
That's such a Sith move, Anakin. Not gonna lie.
And so they're like, okay, we can show you where they are. They're out that way. Lo and behold, they go out on a scouting run. They get caught, and the droid army figures out where they're hiding and bring this death and destruction back to this peaceful little tribe. And at the end of that episode, I'm looking at it like, oh man, like finally they have to deal with the consequences of their actions here for like bringing this war to this peaceful people. But no, the tribe's just like, yay, we drove them away. I'm like, no, those assholes brought this death and despair to you. You lost literally half your village to this massive technical monstrosity. And then they go to the base. They liberate a captured clone that's been kind of prominent in the show throughout, who they've been like basically data mining his brain for their strategies.
I see.
And then they just fuck off and leave the planet. They just fuck off, leaving that village there behind. And that's that episode. That's that arc. I'm just sitting there like, you know, like it like the background of that episode is like, yeah, the ravages of war. The Republic are kind of assholes. Yeah,
they've always kind of been the assholes, you know. They've always been the assholes.
Oh yeah, because Palpatine's been running both sides.
So I'm trying to make sure my audio is picking up here. It looks
fine,
weird
my
audio track looks weird on the Audacity.
You sound fine to me, and you're
coming
in clear
man.
on the stream. But it's just so fucking weird that like that there was no real message to that. It all just sort of ended with the clone that they saved, Echo, getting affixed with a prosthetic arm and joining the Bad Batch, and that's going to be the last we see of them. I'm sure they're out there still murdering Jedi to this day.
Yeah.
The second arc is where we actually kind of start moving into more like slightly interesting territory, because we go back to Ahsoka, who's just left the Jedi Order, and she's trying to help these two people in Coruscant find their way, I guess. I don't know. They get embroiled in what's essentially a drug running ring.
Okay. So Ahsoka goes and does crimes. Got it.
Yep, Ahsoka does crimes and crosses paths with Darth Maul.
Okay,
and,
it's fine. It's fine. We love us some Maul.
Yeah, and these episodes are actually pretty all right. There are a few of them that kind of go nowhere. Like they're captured by the Syndicate for a little while, and I swear to God, there are 2 episodes where they break out of the cell, and at the very end of the episode, they're just right back in the fucking cell. 2 episodes do that.
I can't help but feel that they were just trying to tread water for the last arc, which I kind of don't want you to spoil because I want to watch it.
I won't spoil the last arc.
Okay.
I won't spoil the last arc.
All right.
But that's where it actually gets interesting. Is like there's this big plot. Ahsoka gets this troop of clones to work under her, just as the battle for Coruscant is going on. You know, the stuff from the Genndy Clone Wars where Grievous came in, grabbed Palpatine, and this is essentially like the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. Is happening as she's going off and doing her own thing.
You mean the rise of the Revenge of the Sith?
Yes, Rise of the Sith. As she's going off and doing her own thing. And this is where, essentially, Ahsoka, like, you find out what happened to Ahsoka during Order 66. And they're probably some of the better Clone Wars episodes. Not only because, it's like, well written, well paced, and there's actually something going on this season, but because it's very well animated. Like, their budget went way higher in these last 4 episodes, and it's noticeable. It is dramatically noticeable. Like, when the first of this 4-part episode began, it looked so different. I thought I had accidentally booted up the Clone Wars movie because the budget had gone up so much. I actually I paused the episode to be like, am I watching this season? Like, what's going on?
Well, so they went to put all the stops for the last little bit of it. Might as well, right?
Yeah, and it's good. I think the second to the last episode is probably the best of them, but it's very solid, and it's it kind of caps off Clone Wars and bridges the gap between this and Rebels. Even though I think Rebels is... I don't think Rebels at its best ever came anywhere near Clone Wars, but it bridges that gap so you know where it goes on from there.
Ah, dang!
Oh, no. What'd you do?
My bubbly cans.
Like, I didn't dislike Rebels, but I just didn't think it was ever as good. I don't think it ever reached the heights that Clone Wars did.
No, and as someone who watched a bit of Rebels, it never did. Because I feel like the character, it was playing it way too PG. Whereas
It did feel like
Clone
and
Wars
the end-
went PG-13, and Rebels never went beyond PG, in my opinion.
Oh, one thing, it's not really a spoiler, but one thing that they do this season is, do you remember the Darth Vader in the hallway scene at the end of Rogue One? Where he's just, like, wrecking people left and right? They give Darth Maul a moment like that, and it's really cool.
Ah, sweet. Like, again, Clone Wars, like, saved Darth Maul as a character.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think. When he showed up in Rebels, it was like, oh, crap, he's here! It's me. His actor crushes it every time.
Absolutely. I can't help but think that that's one of the reasons they really kept him around, is because his actor was just nailing it.
I mean, I will say he had the peak villain moment in all of Star Wars, which was what happened on Mandalore. And I won't say more than that for those who haven't seen the show, but it was one of the best villain moments I think I've seen in a kid's show ever.
He also has one of the, probably my favorite moment in Rebels, which is his final duel with Obi-Wan. Have you seen that clip?
Not yet. I've not seen that yet, but that is the end of Darth Maul's character, which
yes,
I think
it
is a perfect place to wrap it up.
It is actually probably my favorite lightsaber duel in all of Star Wars, because it's so simple, and it gets across everything it needs with a few lines of dialogue and the motions and expressions of the characters in it.
The second he was introduced in this series, my call was he's going to be buried in the sand in Tatooine.
And he was.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. I was like really happy when I found out that that's what happened. I'm like, excellent, I called it. Cool. I'm actually really happy. Got a big smile on my face because that's the perfect way to wrap him up.
It's where you first meet him, and it's where it's where you last see him.
Someone in the chat says they actually brought in Ray Park to do the fight mocap for Maul.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's not shocking. Ray Park is fantastic at being silent and fighting.
I was really happy to meet. I was really happy to actually get to meet him once. It was very random too. I was going to just randomly going to a comic book store one Saturday. I didn't realize that it was free comic book day. I was like, oh man, it's kind of crowded here. I was just going there to look at games and comics.
Continue on.
Yeah, and I go in and I'm walking around like, wow, there's a lot of people here. And then I see there's some tables with some people lined up, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Peter Mayhew. Oh shit, that's Ray Park. And they were doing this big Star Wars signing thing, and I'm just like, holy shit. Of course, they were only accepting cash, so I had to run to the Walmart across the street to get to an ATM. That was probably one of my biggest just fanboy moments in my life.
It came out of left field, didn't it?
Yeah, I still have the autograph from Peter Mayhew. The man, his hands are literally the size of catcher's mitts. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a reason why he got cast as that character.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I remember Gon asking me a very specific question after I said, oh, I got to shake hands with Ray Park. He was like, do you know what happens when you shake hands with Ray Park? I'm like, what? Same thing that happens with everyone else. Because he also played Toad from X-Men.
Oh,
and
my
Gon
God,
likes
he
making
played
those deep
Toad.
pulls. Yeah, he did.
Oh my God, he played Toad. I completely forgot Ray Park. That is the best, worst line of dialogue ever. Who came up with that line of dialogue? I'm trying to remember. It was if
it's a comic book movie, it's probably Goyer.
No. This was it was included. They even said in the commentary that Joss Whedon. Yeah, Joss Whedon came up with that line.
Oh Lord.
Apparently, Joss Whedon said.
Well,
same thing as everything. It's so bad yet so good somehow. It's like this weird crossover of Terra bad. It's Terra great. I don't know.
But yeah, Clone Wars, solid last season. Honestly, the highlight of it being the last 4 episodes. If you don't want to watch any of the rest of it, the last 4 episodes are really all you needed, because I think the last 4 episodes are the only reason that the show got greenlit. This season got greenlit.
Well, finally got the connection, which is neat. And the Clone Wars will go on to be one of the shows that started off really weak and got really strong.
Oh yeah. What? Because you've watched like the rest of the Clone Wars. It got really weird at times. But what was the first episode that you saw that you're like, you know what, this is actually good?
I don't remember. I actually really don't remember. The first season just stood out as really awkward because I felt Anakin and Ahsoka Tano's actors weren't fully in their characters yet.
It took a bit.
And their performances were a bit wooden. And this isn't a shot against them. But immediately the next season, it was like a leap in quality that was shocking to me. I don't remember what episode it was.
I remember I remember my first episode that I saw.
What were they?
It's in the first season. It's called Rookies. And it's all clones, just all the clones, and that's where you actually start getting invested in the clones as characters when they're trying to show their individuality and like what they do, because that's the meat of the show. Like there's some really good Jedi Sith stuff going on, but the clones are really what holds that show together.
Yeah, and that's the performance of one man, and his name is Klaus from Family Guy. No, I'm kidding. It's from American Dad, but still.
Yeah,
Same actor.
Yeah. It's a solid show. Like there are a few things that I always think back to when I think of Clone Wars. I'm like, oh yeah, I love this. Palpatine versus Savage and Maul. Probably.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah. Like, that's just fun, just watching Palpatine, just like, you know what, I've been sitting behind this desk too long. I'm just gonna go take care of this real quick.
I just, but for the fucking storyline purposes, how the fuck does the leader of the Republic just leave to another planet and no one notice? Like, Christ. Mandalore's not across the street. It's another part of the galaxy.
Yeah, he flies out there on his own, too. Like, he just gets in his ship and goes.
Oh, God.
But it's, I mean, you if he wasn't able to do that, then, like, okay, he'd have to be able to leave his office at some point, right? And what if he had to go on some dates, otherwise how would Rey exist?
Okay, Nick, you gotta, I think for overall, this show gave me a lot of characters I love. They gave us Hondo. God bless him. God bless Hondo and everything he
Cad
does.
Bane.
Oh, Cad Bane. Oh, you're talking about Cad Bane. I love Cad Bane. Cad Bane was such a good villain.
Hondo is so popular that he became the Q character, like the character that you're listening to in the queue of the flights of the Millennium Falcon ride at Disney.
That's not shocking. And that just comes down to the performer, once again. That is, of course, Jim Cummings, who just crushed it. Like, the casting in that show was so immaculate. It was so brilliant top to bottom. It's
but then I think back to like some of the more like hokey episodes. Do you remember the series of episodes where they literally traveled to or actually technically got abducted by the living Force?
Okay, so the
three characters representing the Force, the light side, and the dark side.
Okay, these are the most controversial episodes in the whole show, right? Like
they might be.
You love these or hate these. I just figured that they were some weird personifications of them for like an ancient race. I didn't think they were the physical manifestations.
I mean, that's probably what they are, but they are in essence the manifestations. They are they manipulate the Force in its purest form.
It had Liam Neeson's. It had the Liam Neesons.
Oh, that was
it had the Liam Neesons from the Tuken, man. You can't.
That was the old finale. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka, where they were abducted by the dad, the son, and the daughter.
Yeah, but that's where Liam Neeson's is.
I don't think Liam Neeson was in that episode.
That was Liam Neeson's was in that episode. Apparently, there was a last-minute change to it as well, because it wasn't supposed to be just Liam Neeson. It was supposed to be one other guy. And it was a last-minute change made by George Lucas. I remember reading about this, and I was pissy. You know who else was supposed to be there?
Now I know you're thinking about the Yoda episodes, because I think you're talking about Darth Revan.
Yes.
Yeah, those were the Yoda episodes.
Revan was put later. Revan wasn't supposed to be in that one. Instead, they got Exar Kun later on.
No. They replaced him with Darth Bane.
Darth Bane, right? The guy who created the Rule of Two,
which somehow Yoda knew about.
Yeah, apparently it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, Darth Revan was supposed to be in that shit.
Yeah, Liam Neeson didn't show up until like the last episode of Clone Wars. Though he wasn't in the episodes I'm referring to.
I completely disagree with you. I'm pretty sure Liam Neeson's was in that episodes, man.
I don't remember him showing up in that episode in particular. Like, again, it's been a bit since I've seen those episodes.
Nick, I don't mean to pull this thing, but the chat is with me on this.
Well, they could be wrong as well.
Oh my God,
that's fine.
Nick just turned heel. Nick just turned heel, everybody.
I am allowed to turn heel. Look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But
yes, there is. The entirety of it is.
Nah. Either way, the time I remember Liam Neeson is in the episode with Yoda at the very end of the 6th season, and that's where the Darth Revan and Darth Bane thing was supposed to be.
No, that was with Darth Bane. There's no Revan in that one. It was just they Darth Bane,
yeah.
and they gave him a very. I mean, it's cool that they cast
Hamill.
It's cool that the Hamill as him, but the way Bane was described in the books, he was supposed to sound more like Liam Neeson. Not Liam. I'm sorry, Vin Diesel. He was supposed to be this tall, baritone voiced man, like, yes. Like, he was supposed to be this, because he was like just this, more or less, he was just a minor slaver, essentially. He was he was raised as a slave, and then basically found his way into the Sith Order, where like one of the Sith academies, because this is like Old Republic, where there were still like thousands of Sith and stuff like that. Yeah.
And he was the one that killed all the Sith.
That was good shit, though. That was a fun. Then he realized, I gotta kill all these Sith. All these Sith suck.
Yeah, these guys are bad. Like they are completely going against like what everybody wants here. So you know what? Fuck it. I am wiping these guys out.
Now, for what it's worth, Darth Bane. I guess Darth Bane or
one of my favorite trilogies. Yeah, Darth Bane, one of my favorite trilogies of Star Wars books.
But he found Darth Revan's holocron. That's the big thing there. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. We landed on it. We got it.
Yeah, I know they tied it into the Knights of the Old Republic with those books.
Yeah,
they're really
that was a good. Those books were the connection point between the Old Republic and the current, or whatever the fuck they call the current one.
Yeah,
it was a connection. It was a connection point, and it was really well written. I remember reading 2 of the books. The first one was good. Second one, I kind of got bored halfway through.
Yeah, I believe what they're calling it now is like there's the Old Republic, and then there's the High Republic, which I think is the Old Republic minus all the Sith.
Yeah, man. The High Republic, dude. Welcome.
I also have I have a very strong theory that I think that's where Disney's going to be doing a lot of its Star Wars stories from this point forward. I think they're going back in time before this prequels.
Oh God, yeah, hell yeah, go back to Old Republic. It's just it's a free for all back there.
They've been doing a lot of things that kind of like establish that. First of all, they're establishing lore of like ancient Sith societies on planets that we'd never heard of before, things that they can control. And I think so many people are burnt out from that sequel trilogy that they don't really want to push forward from that, but instead they'll probably go back in time to what is
What's your name,
currently
Nick?
in
What's your name? What's your name, by the way, Nick?
What?
What's your name?
Lani.
Lani what?
Star Wars.
I forgot that in my synopsis. I remember hearing about that, and I'm like, that's hilarious. That's like saying we really are the Last of Us. Like, that's...
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that's exactly what I think Disney's going to be pushing forward with, because one thing that kind of supports that theory for me is the recent Disney licensed Star Wars novels have started coining the term High Republic.
Now they're putting it in different time zones. Mm-hmm. That's fine. That's fine. Let's just, you know what? Skip ahead another 500 years. I don't give a shit. Let's just go. Let's just go somewhere else. Let's tell more stories. I'm tired of Jedi. I'm tired of Sith. I don't hate the Force.
That's why The Mandalorian was so good.
Yeah. Even though one of the characters has Force powers, but it's not a Sith or a Jedi. It's just a guy with Force powers.
It's just a baby. What's it going to do about it? It doesn't know what it's doing.
A 50-year-old baby.
Yeah, it's a 50-year-old baby. What's she going to do about it? The Mandalorian was so refreshing because it was that Star Wars Western that that feeling of Star Wars without the Jedi for a little bit, in a time that hadn't really been explored before. The moments just after Return of the Jedi, where the Empire's still kind of like struggling for territory and stuff and trying to hold their own against this new republic that's showing up.
Sure. That sounds fun. That sounds different. Let's do that.
And then fucking like that's
maybe
that's probably
hold on. Maybe there's maybe okay. Here, can I pitch my Star Wars plot?
Sure, go for it.
Because so here's what I thought the second Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi, was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be Kylo Ren drops down on the planet where Luke is hiding, where Rey just meets him, with all the Knights of Ren, and then Luke has to teach her Rey Force powers while they're on the run the entire time, getting a little bit better. Like trying to be able to take on the Knights of Ren as they scatter and try and find out this thing. It becomes a competition for the Knights of Ren because they're just a bunch of chads.
It would have been interesting if they did anything with the Knights of Ren.
Exactly. You know, all that money on the table just lying there. But sure, let's not do anything with the Knights of Ren. I was hyped for them. I'm like, ooh, is that a Force scythe? That's fun. And nothing. They did nothing with it.
You know why that is? It's because you and I love wrestling, and what's one of the best things about wrestling? Stables. Having a crew.
No, it's not even that. Stable, not even that. It's just people with different abilities, different ways they stand out, you know?
It would be so much more anime and cool.
Exactly. The more anime you make something, the more over the top you make it, the more fun it is. Like, I honestly thought it was going to be a lot like just, like, Escape from New York. They were trying to get off the freaking planet because they got to get to the ship, which is, like, way far away, and they can't take a speeder bike there. They have to walk there while the Knights of Ren are hunting them. It's, like, so much fun. And Luke has a power where he can, like, hide his Force power like Goku can hide his ki power.
Something like that. But it would be really interesting if they actually developed them instead of saving them for the final movie and then having them literally only be a series of establishing shots and then a 2-minute boss fight for Kylo.
Die Hard on a Star Wars planet. Thank you, Jacato X. That's what I want. That's what I wanted. That's what I thought I was going to get. To take Star Wars to new and interesting places.
Let's take this and cross this.
Let's
take Star Wars and do Seven Samurai.
I get into arguments with my close. I get into arguments with my close friends with The Last Jedi because I tell them every time I liked the Rey Luke story.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I thought everything involving Rey, Luke, and Kylo was good.
Yeah, I thought everything else was so bad that I couldn't enjoy the Rey shit because I knew it was going to connect eventually.
Yeah, everything else just felt so full of plot holes and weird contrivances that literally went nowhere. And I guess I guess that was supposed to be the point, but
You know who's bad? Those who are profiting off war. As he just looks at the camera, I'm like, okay.
You're right.
You gonna kill them all? No, we're gonna make them trip over and drop all their money on the ground. Oh, that'll show them.
No, we're gonna liberate all their camel horses, and then they'll just get captured again.
Yeah, oh my Christ.
Showed them.
At least plant a bomb and blow up the casino. Come on.
Yeah, commit to your terrorism.
But
no, we had to go with PG-13 terrorism. Just killing a bunch of people in a stampede. Off screen.
Oh God. So Nick, we've been talking about Star Wars for way too fucking long.
Have we? Because I could keep going.
Can we talk about another fun-filled, space-filled universe with lots of adventure and hope?
Sure. What do you got?
The Warhammer 40K universe. Now,
All right, now we're entering your territory.
Now, the Warhammer 40K universe, it's all started 10,000 years ago.
So it's already similar to Star Wars.
Oh my God, dude, it's more nuanced than Star Wars somehow. Every time I hear about people talking about Star Wars, I'm like, y'all, you motherfuckers, read some Warhammer.
Man, I don't know about being more nuanced than Star Wars. There's a fucking Wikipedia page for that one random female Yoda that showed up.
Okay, I'm now gonna pull up Warhammer 40K lore points, and I'm gonna see what you think about this. Okay, so the orcs. One of the most powerful orcs is called Ghazghkull Thraka. You ever heard of that name?
I have not. What's his deal?
Ghazghkull Thraka, he's just an orc that's big. Now, he also had he had the smarts like he had smarts unlike other stupid orcs.
Oh, he's a smart orc.
He was an orc that became the boss. So he's orc Jesus essentially. So they found a ship. They're like, okay, we need to get up to that ship. So he unified all the tribes on one planet, and they built rockets and landed on a big ship in the sky. They took over that ship. They flew into the warp. They found an even bigger ship. They crashed into that one. They killed all the demons on board the ship. They took over the ship. They flew it, and then they crash landed on a planet, the planet of Armageddon. That's its actual name. They're like, all right, let's take over this. So they try and take it over, and all the orc tribes hear about this orc trying to take over Armageddon, which is a military planet. So the hardest to take over style planet. And the orcs almost do it. And then they get their asses kicked, so then they have to leave. But then they come back because if you know one thing, orcs love a fight. So they have come back 4 times in a row.
Okay.
And Ghazghkull Thraka, on the third attempt, went, I think I'm done with this. And so he accidentally lands on another planet, does the same thing, unifies all the tribes. Because guess what? The Tyranids were invading. So then
what are the Tyranids deal? What's
the
their
Zerg?
thing?
They're the Zerg.
Okay. Okay.
No, they're the Zerg.
Gotcha.
Now, just so you know, StarCraft was originally supposed to be a Warhammer game until the communication broke down between the two of them. Then there was a lawsuit. Blah 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 blah. Tyranids were original Zerg. So then the orcs were like, oh my god, let me tell you right now, the Zerg are the best fight ever. It's just an endless fight. Orcs love it. So then the orcs and the Tyranids just smashed into each other until their armies were exhausted. And that was completely organized by the humans who were just like, all right, we got the immovable object, the unstoppable force. What if we
just ran them into each other?
Someone just takes 2 fists, just punching together. Brilliant strategy. There you
there's,
go.
There's
that's one part of Warhammer.
There's one piece of Warhammer that I know about, like in orc lore.
Let's see how close you are.
Okay, they have this like weird sort of magic ability that whatever they believe is true.
No, well, that depending on how many orcs are around them.
Okay.
Their power of belief. They have the power of positivity and bloodlust, and both increase by proximity of other orcs.
Because I remember like hearing about like this thing where like some space marine was trying to shoot an orc in the head, and it like just drops his gun because it was like out of bullets. The orc picks it up, smiles at him, points it at his head, and BAM!
Yeah, exactly. That was a guardsman, as a matter of fact, I believe.
Okay.
But they had the power of suggestion. It's a psychic influence essentially. Now there's other thing. Oh, you know what? Try I will. There's a new faction that came out 20 years ago.
Okay.
And they're called the Tau. They are.
Yeah. What's their deal?
They're new. They kind of had their own little corner of the galaxy. They were just like, they were just setting up communism. They got their caste system, and it worked out pretty well for them. But they're really good at building technology.
Gotcha.
Now the lore is that they for the greater good, they want everyone to work together. Come on, let's all work together, guys. Let's all work together. So they're called anime space communists. So they built Gundams. Because you got to build Gundams in that regard, and they have big titty women.
Well, that's appreciable. That's appreciable.
Yeah, but they try and offer it to the humanity. Humanity wants none of that, and all the big titty Tau women are very sad because they want human husbands. So,
impossible. That can't work.
Yeah, I know, man. That's just how indoctrinated humans are under fascist dictatorship. By the way, they're the good guys. It's true. I know, right, Bracky? It's one of those things.
I don't want to live in that dark future.
In the grim dark of the future, all there is blue balling.
Oh man, I can't abide. Can't abide by that.
Okay, so Nick, I can talk about Warhammer for like 10 years.
It's okay. I'm adding Tau women to my Google list.
Yeah, go have fun, Nick. Have fun at it.
I will. I shall. I will indeed.
Nick.
Yeah?
Nick, you know what's new?
What is new?
Not much. Not much is new
Very
right
true.
now.
Very true. There's not a whole lot going on out there, which is why I wanted to talk about Clone Wars and stuff like that, even though a majority of that conversation is going to involve shit that was, like 10 years old.
Yeah, that sure sounds like a Star Wars conversation. Remember
When
Chewbacca?
I remember.
Ooh, remember the Force?
I remember Force.
Force Awakening.
Remember
the
that.
Millennium Falcon.
I went back and rewatched The Force Awakens before Rise of Skywalker came out, and it did not age very well to me. I mean, it's still all right. Like, technically speaking, it is a sound movie. The directing is good. It is full absolutely full of J.J. Abrams like mystery boxes, which will never have answers anymore.
Yep.
And the ones that were given were unsatisfying, to say the least.
Here's the thing: the Force Awakens greatest 1/3 of a movie I've ever watched.
When it came out, I was enthralled with it. I know that like the biggest critique of it is it's literally just A New Hope redone, and fine, whatever.
Yeah, what it was.
Yeah, but
It's what it was.
I went and saw it like 7 times in theaters, I think.
Dude, you're in Lani Star Wars. I mean, like, it's not unknown that you would have done that, but it just. First third of the movie was good. Everything after that was just a retread that was so awkward. But
to anybody who hasn't seen it in a hot minute, go back and rewatch it, because a lot of the fan service moments are just kind of like eye-rolly on repeat viewings. The first one that kind of catches me is, the beginning of every Star Wars movie, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and it slowly fades to black. And then it sits there for literally 5 seconds because that's just meant for fan anticipation for like a movie that hasn't come out in 12 years. It sits there an uncomfortable amount of times in just darkness before kicks in. And that's the first time I'm looking at it like, yeah, no, I can see a lot of the editing choices that they made to kind of like subtly wink at the camera.
I was taking a nick. I'm stretching.
Is it a good stretch? Is it a good stretch?
I feel like Randy Marsh.
Yeah, after all that, and like I don't know, like the winks at the camera in that one can't even compare to the despair I felt during Rise of Skywalker.
Oh God, this is the worst of everything. You
Here's
thought a
the thing,
J.J. Abrams movie was bad. Have you ever seen J.J. Abrams trying to retcon another movie? Ooh.
Have you ever seen J.J. Abrams try to do a sequel to a movie that somebody did a sequel to a J.J. Abrams movie?
I never understood, like, why. Okay, I get why they got J.J., but why the hell did they not get the guy who made Last Jedi write the script to the first one? That would have been great. Would have set up a whole.
Just get a fucking overseer for the 3 movies.
We cannot criticize Kathleen Kennedy. Otherwise, we're bad people.
Well, I'm willing to be a bad person.
All right, say what you want to say about Kathleen Kennedy there, Nick.
I did all I needed to in a fucking like social media post. I took that clip of Homer Simpson after he tried to build the grill. I just put her face over Homer. He's like, yes, this is a fine-looking Star Wars trilogy. Pulls it down. It's the sequel trilogy. Why doesn't mine look like that? It was the only thing I could think of after seeing Rise of Skywalker, which is a fucking mess. The winks at the camera in that one are so bad.
No,
like,
dude, it's just
by the end, I was like,
it just closes its eyes, dude. Sometimes
I just wanted to yell at the fucking screen, like, for no reason whatsoever. Fucking Maz Kanata, a character that was a bar lady from the Rise of the Force Awakening.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, bar lady, orange lady, orange Yoda.
She had the lightsaber
and the butthole eyes.
Yes.
She had the lightsaber too, which, questions for later that never get answered. During one scene, she just looks at Chewie and says, "Chewie, this is for you," and hands him one of the medals from the end of A New Hope.
I heard about that scene, and I heard everyone just went, "What the fuck?"
It's like, why? Why do you have that, and why are you giving it to him now? Also, like, are you some authority here that you're, like, giving out medals? Shouldn't there be a ceremony for it, if that is true? If not, did you just, like, find that with one of Luke's jackets or something? I don't fucking know.
I'm just scratching my head at that one.
Did you steal it off of Han's corpse?
Like, I thought the planet blew it up with Han on it.
Yeah, but, like, she managed to find fucking Luke's lightsaber at the bottom of a gas giant, so... I don't know.
Thanks, JJ.
I don't know, man. Like, that movie is... It, as opposed to The Last Jedi, where I initially came out of it... I initially came out of that one like, I don't know about that.
Before we move on, I now know the equivalency of what that was.
Okay.
when Chewie was handed the medal, that is the same thing as the Juggernaut and the Last Stand going, "Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut,
I'm the Juggernaut bitch." Yeah,
That's
but at least that got a laughing groan out of me.
It's true. It's true. And I'm not gonna lie.
Fuck you, Charles!
It's one of the only times in that movie I was genuinely entertained, aside from anytime Kelsey Grammer was on screen.
Yeah, but...
You know what we should do in a third movie? What? Kill off Professor Xavier. Brilliant.
Let's do it again.
Yeah! X-Men movies.
Oh my god, I can't even bring myself to watch Dark Phoenix.
Oh, dude, it came out and I heard nothing and I assumed the worst.
And that's still probably better. I don't know, like, but like I was saying, with Rise of with The Last Jedi, I initially came out of it like, I don't know how I felt about that, and have at least come to appreciate the A-plot more as time has gone on, and some of the direction choices and the scripting of it. I still don't think it's, like, amazing, like, for whatever known reason, it's Kaiser's favorite Star Wars movie, but I don't
Which
really
was his favorite movie?
Last Jedi.
You want to know why that's Kaiser's favorite movie?
Why?
Oh, you do too? We gotta find out, dude.
Yeah,
we gotta figure out why that's his favorite movie.
I can't figure it out.
I could already see him sending us an angry Discord message at this rate here. This is...
We'll see.
He's one of the friends
he's the one
that
that
edits
these.
He's one of the friends I get into arguments about this movie with. And we just sit there and we just get mad at each other the entire time.
But yeah, I've come to at least appreciate the A-plot, the directing, and the writing of that. Whereas Rise of Skywalker, I came out of that like, that wasn't that bad. That, it could have been worse. And have just grown to hate it more and more as time has gone on. And I think that probably has, like, I don't know, like, it has to have a lot to do with the fact that I think it's turning me Sith, that movie. There are parts of it that I liked.
Come on, you're almost there. You're gonna find it.
I liked the part where Palpatine threw lightning at all the ships that showed up in their attempt to redo the...
Is it wrong that I know I shouldn't? Like Red Letter Media, they just capture my feeling about these movies so purely.
Well, with their Nerdcast thing.
Oh my God, yes. The Nerd Crew podcast is. I just.
Star Wars porgs.
I am excited for product and cannot wait to consume more product. Very cool.
Yeah, it's sad that I feel like I've become jaded to the thing that I've really loved. And I mean, I guess, like, having a few bad movies has never stopped me from enjoying Star Wars. I enjoy the universe more than I enjoy the movies.
Nick, we've been talking about Star Wars this entire time.
We switched to 40K for like 5 minutes.
We just needed a palate cleanser. But we haven't talked about one of the greatest movies in the Star Wars anthology, which is Solo.
Oh.
I heard the movie that your body.
I was lukewarm on Solo. I still am. I think it's enjoyable, but it's just so, like, it's a story that didn't need to happen.
Remember Han Solo?
It was better before Solo than after Solo. Solo was the first movie that came out that actually, like, it didn't bomb, but it certainly underperformed to hell, to the point where they had to backtrack and, like, cancel a whole bunch of other Star Wars projects.
It was so, but we can't criticize Kathleen Kennedy.
No, her handling of Star Wars has been fine.
She is an inspiration.
The Force is great. I love it. It's... I don't want to sound overly negative on this.
No, it's because the people who heavily criticize, some of the people who criticize her are just horrible fucking human beings. That's the sad thing, is, like, it's all caught up in all the toxicity.
Yeah, like, the toxicity drowns out the legitimate critique.
And that is what's so fucking crappy about this. You know what happened is these movies became battlegrounds for a culture war, and it just made it even worse. Like in a lot of ways, any actual criticism was lost in the shit flinging, unfortunately, which was the same with the Ghostbusters 2016 remake.
Yeah, as soon as you start referring to the people who are your longest time fans as entitled man babies, that's where you start to go across that
even
line.
Even if you were being stung by bees, you didn't need to go fucking hit the hive, okay?
Yeah.
Hey,
all you're doing is inflaming the worst of those people and turning away some of the people that might have given it a shot. But I think they do that to kind of like drown out the legitimate criticism. Like there's probably some credence to that, where the general popcorn guzzling movie public doesn't care about how good or bad the movie is as long as things happen and you can watch them and say, "Ooh, that looked cool."
Now we got to talk about something really cool though. We got to talk about something really cool here. You know what's really cool about Star Wars?
What's really cool?
In the last scene in the last episode of The Mandalorian, there are a lot of stormtrooper extras. And it turns out originally they did not have enough extra outfits for the shoot.
Yeah.
So they reached out to the charity group for the
401st, yeah.
The 401st. They reached out to them and asked, "Hey, do you guys want to be in Star Wars?" And they all the 501st, sorry. Thank you. The 501st, and they all got to be extras in that Star Wars scene.
Yeah,
the Mandalorian.
They showed up with their like custom armor and just
Yep.
And they got to be in the standoff there.
They got to be in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like after all the charity work they had done, they got to be rewarded and got to be in Star Wars, which I thought was such a brilliant idea by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, because they set that up. That was such a brilliant save, and it was
an amazing community thing.
Free positive PR, and that was what was so cool. When I read that story, I was so happy. I rewatched the scene and realized those are all hardcore Star Wars fans who finally have lived the dream of being in Star Wars, and they deserve it for all the time and effort they put into their costumes and their charity work, you know? And that's what was really cool. And that's the thing. It's not all negative.
Yeah, Mandalorian is great. Like, I think it was, like I said when it was coming out and we were talking about it.
My dad loved it.
Yeah.
My dad was like, "When can I watch more?" He even said, it's just the good, the bad, and the ugly, but in space.
Exactly.
Kinda, Dad.
It's some of the best Star Wars since the original run of the Clone Wars.
Well, I mean, like a lot of people said it's just because they went back to basics, which was taking East meets West, and they just combining it again with an original story.
And they have a great hero's tale going on. It's the samurai story of the lone Ronin taking care of a mystical child. Like I'm pretty sure that's a thing in Eastern mythology.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They just went back to basics and they told like the Lone Wolf and the Cub.
Yeah, Lone Wolf and Cub. That's what it is.
Bracky, don't worry about Ahsoka showing up. You know what's gonna happen?
That'll be fine.
Ahsoka's gonna show up and she's gonna be an adult and she's gonna want to bang the Mandalorian the entire time, and we are gonna be here for it.
I will be honestly. I'm cool with anything that kind of like fleshes out lore of characters that I like. One thing that I was kind of sad about in this latest season of Clone Wars is you don't really hear much about Asajj, like Ventress.
Yeah, I know, right? And she's such a good goddamn character.
Yeah, she became probably one of my favorite secondary characters in that entire show. I can't. Yeah, I remember there was a book that came out that kind of told her origin. But I was hoping that they'd like flesh it out a little bit more in the show. I know there's another book with her that I haven't seen yet either, where she's like teaming up with this quote unquote gray Jedi, which always works out for the best.
Someone says he got killed off in a book.
Oh well, shit! Now I don't have to read that book. That's probably the other book. That's probably the other book I was thinking of.
Hooray! Oh, I love that. That's fun.
I always thought, like, you have so many years of, like, really, like, you have so many really good books to pull from if they want to make things out of them. It's not like people don't go and see comic book movies where they don't already know what's going to happen.
It's every Marvel movie, man.
Right? I mean, you can't have Infinity War and then let them know that there's going to be an end game without knowing that it's not all going to end great. you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Mandalorian.
I really like how I've played my hand about how ignorant of Star Wars I am.
Hey,
I'm looking forward to my Twitter mention. Just
you
my Twitter
nailed the
mentions.
plot points.
I feel like I really did. If anyone wants to take that audio and bury it somewhere in a time capsule, that'd be great.
But yeah. Thanks for joining me here for this.
Absolutely, dude.
It's good having you on with this. It's good being able to vent more frustrations on Rise of Skywalker, because I feel like it builds in me as time goes on, and I just need to get it out there into the public, and then talk about stuff that I actually love, like Clone Wars, Mandalorian, the Star Wars Christmas special. You know, the good Star Wars.
Oh man.
Anyway, this has been the Talkcast Podshow, everybody. Hope you're all staying safe and healthy out there, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Wait.